Hey everybody, it is your boy NCSO7 here, and it has been 2 months since I first got my Oculus Quest 2, and I finally feel like I've had enough time with the system, or well, the headset in this case, to gauge an opinion on it, and well, that's kind of the plan for today. So today I'm going to be reviewing the console itself briefly, as well as talk about the various games that I played on there. Now keep in mind that when I talk about the games, they're not full-on reviews. I do plan to review some of these games in greater depth in the future, but for now, let's basically just talk about my experience and then kind of what I think of the system. So, Oculus Quest 2 is by far the best VR headset that I've ever had. I mean, just to compare it for the other VR headsets I've had, the Nintendo Labo VR Kit, I mean, that was a toy for $40. That wasn't really a VR headset. The Oculus Go was the first VR headset I had, and that thing just freaking sucked. I mean, yeah, it was like $100 less than like a Quest or whatnot, but the Oculus Go just sucked at everything. I mean, yeah, it was VR, but there was nothing else to it. It barely had any good games. All the games on there were pretty much garbage mobile games. Like, and why would you get an Oculus Go when you could just save up $100 more for the real deal? And then I also got a PlayStation VR, which is much better because PlayStation VR actually has games on it, and a pretty good one, Astrobot Rescue Mission being a very notable game. But PlayStation VR also doesn't work the best. You have to, because first of all, setting the thing up is a freaking nightmare. You have to plug in the box for like the PlayStation VR, you gotta plug in the camera, you gotta make sure the camera's right, you gotta figure out the hookup situation with like the HDMI and all that jazz, you gotta plug in the VR headset, and then you gotta hope to God that the camera can actually see the freaking VR headset. It's too annoying to use, and sometimes I just cannot play anything on there at all because the thing just doesn't want to try. But even so, PlayStation VR is okay, but compared to the Oculus Quest 2, it's nothing. Though PlayStation VR does have Astrobot Rescue Mission, which is a good reason to get a PlayStation VR, but kind of got a little off topic, but I did want to compare because Oculus Quest 2 is my favorite VR headset, because the Oculus Quest 2 is basically like, I mean, okay, it's a VR headset that actually works most of the time. It has the two controllers that work well. It works completely well. And the best thing about the Quest 2, you can play it anywhere you want. You don't have to play in a specific spot. You don't have to have a camera pointed at you so that way you can detect the VR headset. Heck, the Quest 2 actually has cameras on the outside of it for tracking, which is really cool. It even supports hand tracking if you don't have the normal controllers, which is really cool. Though it doesn't work as great as it could be, but it's still quite cool, and it's so good. It's really good to play the VR headset sometimes when I'm sitting down, when I'm playing stuff like VR Chat or Tetris Effect, and we'll get to those in a second. But there is one thing about the VR, about the Quest 2, and that is the OS is kind of glitchy. I don't know if this is just me or if this is actually a problem, but there have been several times where the OS for this thing just doesn't work the best. Like, sometimes it'll just not show my games on the console at all. And there's a couple times where the system just has an extreme lag, to a point where I pretty much have to force the headset off. And very recently, actually, I wasn't even planning to use it at all, but then I saw, like, apparently it was on with some sort of Infinity logo. If anyone can explain what the hell that means, please let me know, because I genuinely have no idea. And it's just kind of stuff like this, where it just makes me feel like it's kind of glitchy. Now, to be fair, none of this stuff is permanent. It's all temporary. Once I power down the system and power it back on, everything's the way it should be. But it's still kind of weird, and I really hope that Oculus can fix these issues, unless it's just me, which I don't know. But really, though, at least it's temporary. It could be worse. But overall, the Quest 2 is a very solid VR headset. But I haven't really talked much about it at all, because, I mean, I use this thing to play games. So let's talk about the games a little bit more and how well they are. And for some games, even compare them to the PlayStation VR versions. Now, starting off with VR Chat, the first game I played on here. VR Chat is pretty good. I love playing this game. I first played this and I absolutely fell in love with the game. It's not even really much of a game at all, but it's more so just kind of basically think like Gmod mixed with like Club Penguin, I guess. Like, that's pretty much what it is. It's not really much of a game aspect. You pretty much just chat with other people online, or not really at all. You kind of just get thrown into a room full of meme heads, and that's kind of that. Oh, and honestly, VR chat is good, but it's not amazing. It's not as good as it was when I first played it. It's pretty cool, but it's not really my kind of thing, because I'm not really a talkative person. And a lot of people in these rooms are kind of just annoying. Not to be mean, but that is kind of the case. But it's not really too bad, because you can like get models and all that stuff, because you can get like player models of like other stuff, which is pretty cool, as you can see in the video. But overall, VR chat is pretty alright, but it's not amazing. At least I don't play it anywhere near as much as I used to, because I kind of got bored. I got a little bored of it eventually, but it's still good. Next, moving on to Job Simulator. Now, Job Simulator is the best VR game ever made. It is such a fun game. It's an easy game. It's very funny. It's not a difficult game at all, and it's just so engaging. It does such a good job of incorporating VR. And Job Simulator feels much better on Oculus Quest 2 than it does on PlayStation VR. Like, it just feels so goddamn good. It's so much fun. Job Simulator is amazing. And the other game I got was Beat Saber. Now, Beat Saber, it's a very popular VR game. A lot of people play this, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't play Beat Saber that much. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very good at Beat Saber, and for some reason the floor level always seems to get lower and lower, which makes the notes go lower and lower, so I don't know what the hell is up with that. But Beat Saber is a really solid game. There isn't really much of a difference between the version on Quest 2 as like to PlayStation VR. Not much of a difference at all. Though I believe with the Quest 2 version, you might be able to mod the game more easily and add more songs. But yeah, that's cool. Beat Saber is a pretty decent game. Next game is Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, and only horror game on this list, which I'm not really one for horror games, but FNAF VR Help Wanted is pretty cool. I wanted to get it in like VR, and while the PlayStation VR version was okay, it's much better to play with the Quest 2, because I feel like the thing actually works a lot better. Feels like you're a lot more responsive. Though I did actually notice that there are actually some graphical downgrades compared to the PS4 version, as on the cameras they don't actually move left and right, and the animations are actually a lot more not as good quality, at least a lot less frames. I think this might just be because they were trying to compress the game on the Quest 2 and they had to make a few graphical sacrifices, but it's not really that big of a deal at all. This game does take a long ass time to load, pardon the language, but it's still really solid. It's really fun and scary. I could only really play for a little bit before I get a little too jumpy, because I don't like horror games. It's the reason I don't really play them that much on the channel. But still pretty solid. And next game is to completely change the mood completely, Little Witch Academia VR Broom Racing. I'm going to talk about this a little more in a couple of videos regarding Little Witch Academia, because I'm going to talk about this series in a couple of instances. More on that in the future. But this game is pretty much just a racing game. It's actually not too bad. I mean, compared to the other Little Witch Academia game, it's a lot better. It's a little more interesting, though I do think the game definitely is kind of overpriced, because this game is $30 goddamn dollars. That's a little much, don't you think? But it's not really that big of a deal. Like, it's still a fun, cute game, but it's definitely not perfect at all. I will say it's probably the worst VR game I've played. And saying that definitely tells me that I've had a pretty good VR experience. If you exclude Oculus Go, because that stuff doesn't count. But who really cares about Little Witch Academia VR Broom Racing when Tetris Effect Connected exists? This is the most recent one I played, if you don't include Rec Room, but Rec Room doesn't count because I don't really like Rec Room. Tetris Effect Connected is absolutely fantastic. This game Oh my god, it's so good. I have only played the journey mode in the game. I played it on practice and beginner, and it is just so good. Although it's not really that good with the Oculus Quest 2 controllers. I'm sorry, but those controllers are not made for Tetris. Thankfully, you can connect a wireless controller and through Bluetooth, and you can play it that way, which is a lot better. But even so, I have some issues with that, though it might just be my controller not being as good. Even though it's an Xbox One controller, but even so, playing Tetris if I connected, it's just so fun. It's such a good way to really put yourself at ease, just letting the visuals go around you and all that jazz while you're playing Tetris. It works really well. It's such a calming game. It's a really good game to kind of just forget about all of those things that you got going on in the world, all of your like anger and all these issues going on in the world. It kind of lets you forget about that and just kind of immerse yourself in this world. And I'd say that's what the Oculus Quest 2 does extremely well. And kind of getting into the final thoughts of the video, Oculus Quest 2 was a really good decision to buy. I was going to wait a little longer to get it, but I'm glad I got it when I did because it's just so good. I don't play it all the time though, because I do kind of want it to still be special, but it's good to know that at least whenever I do want to play it, it's not that annoying to set up. But overall, it's just such a good game. It's such a good device. It's my favorite VR headset to date. Until something comes out in the future that can dethrone it, which won't be too hard. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I do plan to get more games for this thing, and I do plan to review some of these games to greater extents in the future, but that's for another time. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Quest 2, if you guys have it, and what your guys' thoughts are on it. Let me know what games you've played on there, and even some game recommendations, considering all the games I talked about is pretty much all the games I have. Of course, excluding Rec Room, but I don't like Rec Room, so yeah. But let me know in the comment section if there's some other games you recommend. Some more simple games would be nice, because I don't really want complicated VR games. I'm not really into that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're brand new here, because I said so. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out and take care. Have a good day.